Well, it finally looks like Magna Warriors have figured out how to be played. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. Now, this is a breakdown that took me by surprise because Magna Warriors ended up somehow taking down this entire event, finishing 7-1 and only losing one Swiss game in Swiss, which is kind of crazy to think about out here because after the loss of the mini Underworld Goddess, most people kind of had the same thought, and it was, all right, well, Magna Warriors are just kind of riding off into the sunset. You know, this deck is basically done, and I'm going to agree with you, man. I did kind of expect that deck to kind of check out. So to see that, you know, we do actually have a successful run for that was very, very interesting. Now, there are some other interesting decks gravitating around this, which are really going to kind of highlight some of the problems with the OCG meta right now. And there are the combination of these two Mitsurugi lists and these two Risal Mitsurugi lists. Now, I am going to technically classify them as separate decks. The reason for that is, you know, the pure Mitsurugi variants are pure. You know, they are basically still playing the game the way that they intend to, but the deck is doing it, you know, without the additional help. Meanwhile, you know, what is left of the Risal package is basically slotting into the deck very, very nicely. So that's kind of interesting. Now, we did have a Vanquish Soul challenger. I feel like Vanquish Soul has been kind of a normal thing to see when you're tuning into these other events because I think the deck just does pretty gosh darn well. We also had an Elven Notes Sinful Spoils deck. That's been a new combination of things that I really didn't expect to see out here, but it's been doing pretty well. And then, of course, we got Radiant Typhoon checking back in to constantly remind us that, you know, this deck is still here, man. It's still doing a lot of very interesting things. So this meta is very, very interesting. Let's pass on over to deck list. Winning this event was this very, very interesting combination of rock toolbox good stuff. Now, the reason why, you know, I call this the rock pile is because this deck solidly has some of the most interesting play lines that you can kind of pick up. We also do see Protector of the Sanctuary here in Morphing Jar. Yeah, I don't know who called up these two, but I have a feeling that if you were resolving some sort of combination of that unfair little interaction, you might have been able to actually steal the game away from your opponent. So, I don't know. This pile really is interesting in terms of the design space that it's got going for it, because who is going to go out here and try to build Magna Warrior anything after the loss of the mini goddess? The answer is this duelist. And I think that this is definitely an interesting combination to kind of start things off. So I look forward to seeing how more of this is going to interact in the future. Next up here, we have Vanquish Soul. Now, OCG Vanquish Soul is pulling in some interesting little stops. As you're going to see here, we have a very mini Risal package built into the deck. Why? Well, I mean, the minute I do anything with the combo, I mean, I become rank 4 locked. Do I really care? No, it's another little sub package, and I mean, 2-card combination into a detonator. I mean, what in the world is your opponent going to do about that? It's this sort of random stuff that kind of comes out of left field that just steals games. And unfortunately, Vanquish Soul seems to be one of those decks that kind of figured out the formula here. They figured out that we can play, you know, something really dumb and actually get it to work out. So I am kind of about this, honestly. I think that this is really, really cool to see, and I hope that, you know, maybe we do see some more Vanquish Soul evolutions with this. Next up, we begin our descent into Mitsurugi Purgatory. Now, if you've been paying attention to how this deck has been evolving, the new demise really opened up some stupid, crazy doors for this deck. It honestly made the deck way more consistent because you can now apply 3 Mitsurugi rituals per turn, because converting demise's effect into a Mitsurugi ritual effect does not count as activating Mitsurugi rituals effect. So, you know, it's almost like Konami made Demise to be this little cheat card that you could systematically use in combination with this broken stuff. So, I don't know, man. I'm a little bit intrigued with their design space here and what they've been trying to do with Demise. It's just, this deck is really, really crazy, and it's been consistent too. Next up, we have the combination pile that I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of. Now, please do take note of the in shambles, and I mean truly in shambles, Risal package that this deck is working with, because you are down such a package with this deck, man. You just straight, yeah, 1-ups, play it, you know, 7 Tachyons into 1. You've got the 7th Century. You're doing everything that you would expect to. I do, however, see that this deck is playing Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo. That is going to be a kind of consistent little thought process that I think most of us don't want to see anymore. I mean, being able just to pivot on into that after you've done Gallic Granite shenanigans, got the 2 level 4s on the field. Yeah, it just enjoy winning the game that your opponent has to go deal with that. And if they don't have a way to deal with it, well, easiest dub of your life, I suppose. Next up, we go back to pure Mitsurugi. Also, the fact that they are having to play triple of the names to support Demise, except for Futsu. I know nobody wants to play triple Futsu, and I don't really blame you for that. Futsu still remains kind of that oddball character out that doesn't really get much of a chance to show up, and honestly, I'm not all that surprised. Futsu still is kind of one of those cards. It's like, yeah, you know, we can still play it. Also surprised to see more of these lists leave it to the Risal variant to be the one wanting to play the Fossil Dyna. It's interesting to see like the pure Mitsurugi variant wants to commit its normal summon to basically keeping the pieces up and running. This deck, though, is kind of stupid. Yet again, Demise being able to apply that third effect. You have the Purification in the main deck. You have double Dominus Impulse. You get to support Pot of Avarice. You know, tearing through your extra deck really is not much of a problem. I mean, you've got plenty of outs to play how you want to. Next up is more of the Risal Mitsurugi build. Now, this one, once again, I mean, you either play the Demise to extend out the Ritual package, which in turn, I guess, does create more bricks that you might not necessarily want to deal with, versus, you know, this. Also, with this build being able to bridge the Hazy Flame Banshee into basically starter fodder for the deck is actually hilarious. You do see we've got droplets down on the side deck. We got the Gallic Granite to also go pull for the 1 nib. It's really funny to me, actually, to see that this deck does get access to a single Nibiru, and it does it beautifully. It just depends on what your matchup is. Depending on what you're playing against will depend on how you need to pivot your kind of end board structure and kind of have to make those decisions on where you're going to go. Do I want to set up for more of a, you know, bigger board here, or are we just going to kind of pivot into a natural little setup, kind of go from there? Next up, we have our Elven Notes White Forest Special. Now this deck, this is just take all of the good synchro stuff that already existed within the Elven Note stuff and go ahead and slap it into the end board that Sinful Spoils gets to make. Suddenly, you've got a way bigger end board presence that you actually get to make. The terrors of the deck become a lot crazier, and I feel like, I almost want to say, I feel like this deck feels a little bit better than regular old Sinful Spoils at this point, because a lot of the White Forest stuff really kind of fell apart in the later half of its life, even though the TCG's been seeing a little bit of a resurgence back with this recently. We're just kind of at an awkward point now that you kind of have to make some concessions here just to see. I mean, Elven Notes, you want to go Centurion, you want to go Fiendsmith, or do you want to go with the White Forest variation here to achieve those results that you're kind of looking for? And then our last list here is going to be Radiant Typhoon. Triple Featherstorm, man. Any list that can play the Triple Featherstorm is going to be an absolute scary monster within this format. And I think we're going to kind of continue to see Radiant Typhoon just being very stupid. Now, I mean, once Radiant Typhoon loses the Featherstorm at some point, I mean, surely there will be some sort of change that comes along with this. I don't know yet. I'm kind of curious to kind of see how this deck is going to see that reaction. So we'll see kind of going forward. But please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.